Hello everybody, this is Catholic Dad, episode number 432, Bodily Integrity. I wanted to talk about getting the COVID vaccine, moral conscience, and comparing it to the sacramental life of the church. When you go to the altar of the Lord to get married, right, and two flesh become one, right, man and woman become one spouse, they don't actually do it at the altar, believe it or not. They have the sacrament of marriage, but then that two become one is actually the consummation of your marriage. You're not fully married until you consummate your marriage. Now, what's the first thing that the priest says to the couple when they show up to the altar for marriage? And the first thing he says is, did you arrive here on your own free will without coercion? That's what he says. And if the answer is no, he can't marry you. It's an invalid marriage. In fact, that's one of the reasons for marital annulment, is that you got duped into it, or somebody forced you into it, or coerced you into it, and the marriage wasn't of your own free will. Now, this is one of the things that makes Western civilization, Christian civilization, different than the rest of the world. It's that people actually have their own free will when it comes to issues of moral conscience and bodily integrity. Now, let's think about this for a second. Okay, so let's just say you went to get your coronavirus vaccine, right? And let's say before they did that to you, they said to you, do you arrive here on your own free will without coercion? And if the answer is, yeah, I do, I want to get this thing, then poof, you get your corona vaccine and you move on, go on your way. But what if your work environment saying, well, you're going to be fired if you don't get it, or your university saying, well, you can't come here, you can't sit in class if you don't get it, or the NFL saying you can't play on our team if you don't get it, or and they create all these barriers to your basic life, and you're having some issues of coercion to getting the vaccine. Then could you imagine going to the coronavirus vaccine site and they saying, oh, do you come here on your own free will without coercion? And you say no. Well, then if that's marriage, you're not allowed to get it. But if it's coronavirus vaccine, the government doesn't give two hoots about it because they've decided, right? Well, anyway, so let's think about the marital act for a second. Is that if you go to the altar of the Lord and nobody asks you that question and you were coerced to be there, right? You didn't fully consent to marriage, then your marriage actually is rape, right? Is that you're doing something against your own free will because people expected things of you and coerced you into it. Is that, when two become one, right, and in terms of the marital act, if it's consensual, then it's a beautiful thing in God, in God's image. It's like one of the most holiest moments of your life because you're in the process of making life, creating life, right? That's the way it works. But if you do not consent, right, then that's an act of violence against you if you're coerced into it, and that's called rape, right? That's what it's called. Well, anyway, so let's bring this to the coronavirus vaccine. If you do not consent and you're being coerced into it and they jab a needle in your arm, at the very least, that's like some kind of violent assault. Like if you take a needle and you go out in the subway and you jab somebody in the arm and stab them with something, that's at least assault. If you put like saline or nothing in their arm, you're at least assaulting them. Then let's just say you put some chemical and you don't really know what's in it, or you don't know what the side effect's going to be to that individual. That's not just assault. That's assault with the intention to do harm. And so I don't understand why every moral action in the world should always be an action of free will. That's what Christian society has taught us, that we act as individuals, and when you break society down, it always comes down to the single solitary individual and what their free will is. That's how you create a moral society. We do not believe that we're just a big herd of creatures, right? And that we'll do whatever we need to do for the big herd. I can make an argument, by the way. I can actually make a cogent argument that the father of a child can actually decide who's the best spouse for that child, and that's good for the herd of society. I could make that argument, and I think there's probably some credence to it on separate levels, on individual levels. Is dad better at picking a spouse for somebody? Yeah, every now and then he would be, but he's not allowed to, right? Because it's their own free will, it's their own bodily integrity, that they're the ones that have to decide. And if the dad does decide and the child disagrees but was coerced into him, that's not actually a valid marriage, right? That's an act of violence against the child. Well, anyway, so the same thing with vaccines, by the way. And I don't understand why you put something in a governmental edict and suddenly bodily integrity doesn't matter anymore, or you put something in a corporate edict or some kind of corporate policy and bodily integrity doesn't matter anymore. this is wrong, and it's wrong on so many levels. I just wanted to say that. And so, by the way, so every moral action in terms of what you do to your body is your choice. It's the way it works. And that is how you protect bodily integrity. And so I have a buddy, by the way, he doesn't want the vaccine, but they're kind of trying to coerce him to getting it. And I said, you know, it doesn't stop with you. Like, you get the vaccine, but your children are next, right? And so the bodily integrity of a father is actually the bodily integrity of the child as well. And so you, as the protector of the family, the protector of your spouse and your children, if you have issues of moral conscience about this, then you have to resist. Well, anyway, this is Catholic Dad. Make you think about it. Please like or subscribe. Get the Mass and pray the Daily Rosary. Thank you.